guys, welcome back to the Connected Spirit Podcast. I'm your host, Courtney Dawson. This week's episode is a recording from a live training that I recently did, where I delve into and we explore how developing your mediumship abilities actually helps you in your journey of inner healing. And as somebody who is embarking on their mediumship development journey, or maybe you're further along on your path and you're already actively working with your gifts, your journey of inner healing is absolutely paramount for you to allow yourself to work with spirit on a deeper level, to allow your abilities to really reach their fullest potential, and for you to make the impact that you're born to make. This is an episode for everybody, whether you are brand new to developing your mediumship or you're actively working on your abilities or working with the public. You don't want to miss this. So let's dive in. How developing your mediumship can actually help you heal yourself. It can be very much a healing path. So let's get into it. In a lot of my teachings as a medium and also as a spiritual business coach, as a mentor, I'm often heard being said, like I'll comment and I'll say that mediumship is all about healing, and it absolutely is. There is a tremendous amount of healing that can take place when we bring through a contact and we bring through that evidence where our client knows without a shadow of a doubt we're actually channeling their loved ones. There's no doubt about it. But there's also a level of healing that takes place for us, the medium. You know, developing your mediumship isn't just about developing the skills, like how to connect to spirit, how to sit in the power. While all of that's really important, there's also this incredible enhancement that happens, which is our ability to be able to connect with spirit. But the byproduct of that is that we have this deep awareness of self. And when we have that deep awareness of self, it really highlights to the medium, to us, the areas of ourself that need a little bit of work, that need a little bit of extra love. It also reveals to us things that are really holding us back. And that could be outdated belief system. This could be family trauma. This could be some of the inner dialogue that you have with yourself. This could be your ability to really honor your self-worth and allow the opinions and the critics and the judgments of others to influence who you are, how you show up in the world, the decisions that you make, and also your ability to really embrace your spiritual gifts. And what I've learned in the almost 10 plus years of developing my mediumship, and I say I'm still developing because I truly believe that there is not just one end point to us developing our abilities. It's this lifelong journey, is that the more that we allow ourselves to blend and to work with the world of spirit, that there are areas of ourself that come to the surface to be revealed and then healed. And my students hear me say that all the time because it's actually true. And I had asked the spirit world when I first started sitting in development circle, why is all of this stuff coming to the surface? Why are these old pains coming up? I thought I'd already healed that. I thought I already dealt with that. Why are you highlighting to me certain areas of my mind, outdated belief systems, critical thinking, judgments that I had about other people? Why is this all coming up now? I thought I'm supposed to be in this like high vibe of love and light. And spirit said it comes to the surface to be revealed and then healed. And that's what happens when you are a light worker. That's what happens when you're working with the world of spirit. Your abilities are going to be refined through that path of inner healing. And it's really important for those of us that are working with our mediumship abilities, that are especially working with the public, that we allow ourselves the opportunity to go deep, to heal any of our emotional blocks, because that's going to allow you to become a clearer channel for the spirit and really a more effective medium. Because ultimately, you're allowing yourself to remove any kind of roadblocks or hindrances so you can blend with the spirit on a much deeper level, on a much clearer level. And that's also really going to support you ultimately when you're looking to move forward in building a successful spiritual business as a professional medium. Because when you are an entrepreneur, there's going to be a lot of insecurities and doubts and skepticism, not only from yourself, but others that you have to overcome. So you'll notice really early on in the beginning stages of developing mediumship that a lot of that stuff is going to come up to be healed.
so you can let that go. And when you're developing your mediumship abilities, when you're working with the power, when you're working with your abilities, it's really important that you are learning to trust your intuition, trust that spiritual guidance that's coming from your soul, that's coming from your spirit guides, that is coming from your higher self. And really, I could say spirit, because we're all spirit, whether we still have a physical form or we are connecting with the discarnate. Allow yourself to trust that inner wisdom and that guidance that's coming from spirit. Because when you do that, you're going to realize that a lot of the things that you focus on, a lot of the things that you're still holding on to, a lot of the things that you think are important really aren't. And they're just getting in the way of ultimately where you're being guided to go, where your soul is leading you. And so it's really an opportunity to look at, what am I holding on to that, my God, I'm so over? I need to let that shit go. What is it that you are afraid to let go of, and why? What are you clinging to? What is uncomfortable and painful that you're holding on to that really serves no purpose for you? And it requires vulnerability and for you to really get honest with yourself, because I'm going to tell you that this journey requires you to be really vulnerable, not only with yourself, but others, the public, and the spirit world. But remember, when we're working with our mediumistic abilities, it's not just about us. It's not just us that make this happen. There's definitely that cooperation from the other world. So spirit is going to be working with you to bring certain things up so you can look at, so you can address them, so you can let it go. And part of that is learning to trust. And I mean, when I was sitting in a mediumship development circle in those early days, I had actually gotten the word tattoo, the word trust, sorry, tattooed on my wrist, because, I mean, don't run out to your local tattoo artist and go get this. But the reason why I did that was because I needed to learn how to really trust myself. And I realized, like, I didn't trust myself. And a lot of it had to do with some of the ways that I was raised to believe. Some of the things that I was exposed to in my first marriage, I didn't trust. I didn't trust my judgment. I didn't trust some of the things that were coming up. And it required me to really let go of a lot of things that I held on to. And to be honest, I didn't even realize I was holding on to. And so why I share this with you is because you're going to notice that if you don't do the inner healing, it's going to affect every other area of your life. Absolutely. Okay. When you start to trust yourself, it's going to help you show up confidently with your clients. Not only are you trusting yourself in the connection with the spirit world, but you're trusting the information that's coming through. You're trusting how your abilities work, and you trust that you're really where you're meant to be. And that's not always easy in those early stages, but you do have to get over that. You have to heal that in order to actually show up and do the work that you're meant to do. Because if you lack doubt and confidence, honey, you're never going to be able to make the impact and touch the souls that you ultimately came here to touch, to heal, to help, to assist, to guide. And so there are a lot of people that can develop mediumship abilities. In my opinion, I actually believe every single person can develop mediumship to varying degrees, but everybody can learn how to connect with spirit. And I've taught hundreds of people across the globe to do that. But those that are going to take it to a professional level, there are a few of them, because there are a lot of people that aren't willing to get vulnerable and to do the inner healing. And I will tell you that anybody can teach you how to learn mediumship, how to do the ABCs, to learn the mechanics. But for you to actually take them and move over to professional level, it requires much more than just attending a class once a week or listening to a guided meditation. It requires you to do the inner work, the inner healing, the shadow work, whatever you want to call it. Okay? It requires you to do that. And let's get honest, there's a lot of people that want to bypass doing the work and they just want the immediate outcome. And I'm sorry, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. If that is your intention with developing mediumship, you're not meant for it. You're just not. Because this work is much more than a quick fix. I have taught many courses over the years weekend workshops. I've taught 3-month containers. But those are just introductions. Those are samplings of what is the potential within you and your abilities. But for you to actually make an impact to really touch the souls that you're destined to, you have to look at the personal development. And that is your thoughts, your patterns, your behaviors, the relationships you're in, the relationships that you show up in, the type of people that you're attracting, your behaviors, all of that, your wounds, your emotional pain. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, when I started developing my mediumship, I didn't realize how judgmental and critical I was and how angry I was. I was a really angry person because I had so much pain from growing up, so much religious trauma that I hadn't processed, but I also had a lot of pain from situations that were going on with my kids at the time, shortly after my divorce, but also the marriage that I had left, my first marriage. So there was all of this unresolved stuff that I hadn't let go of. And I was like, holy shit, I have so much I have to work on. Like, seriously. And I was really faced with it. And I had to take personal responsibility for that. I had to take personal responsibility for my actions, my words. I also had to take responsibility for my healing. And this coincided while I was sitting in circle, while I was attending workshops, while I was developing my mediumship. And you go, well, how does that make sense? Again, if we go back to what I was sharing earlier, spirit will bring stuff to the surface to be revealed and healed, always. So if you are wanting to work with spirit, giving you the heads up that this is going to come up. And it's interesting because when I teach development circles, usually within the first 2 weeks, I can tell you, I will always have students that will reach out and go, why am I feeling so emotional? Why am I having all these triggers come up? And I'm like, honey, don't worry about it. That's actually part of the journey. And I know there's a lot of spiritual teachers and mediumship coaches and mentors out there that are teaching you the mechanics, but nobody's giving you the straight goods about what happens on an emotional level, what happens on a personal level. And that's where I show up. That's where I teach you all of mediumship in a holistic way, because you cannot get to where you want to be by bypassing your personal development. And that inner healing, I promise you, hun, is going to give you the most rewarding outcome as a spiritual being, as a human, as a medium. It's also going to allow you to really connect with people on a deeper level when you start working with the public. It allows you to connect with spirit. In other words, actually, let me rephrase that. It's going to allow spirit to blend with you on a deeper level because you don't have any blocks up. Okay? And when you are looking at developing mediumship and are having some of these experiences, some of these moments where you're faced with, wow, I actually have some fears and some things that I need to let go of, it's actually really normal to have some of those fears come up. Number one, it is normal to fear the judgment of other people. It is normal to experience self-doubt. But what I'll tell you is that is an opportunity for you to choose fear over love. And every single time I'm going to tell you, you have to choose love. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck. You're going to be at a roadblock. And that roadblock isn't going to heal and be removed until you actually look at why you have that. Like, you actually have to get to the root cause of that. So I'm going to share with you a couple of things that you can do. You can do some journaling. You can do some contemplation, which is really you just sitting within your own space and your own emotions and allowing whatever is coming up to really, number one, be acknowledged. Because if we don't acknowledge, we cannot heal. I'm going to say that again. If we do not acknowledge, we cannot heal. So allow yourself the opportunity to really look at whatever is coming up without judgment, without all the labels. Like, let all of that go. And then allow yourself the opportunity to then choose differently. Choose how you're going to respond. Choose how you're going to react. Choose a new thought. Choose a new way of behaving and acting and showing up. Okay? And it takes time. For me, having a mentor and also having a community of like-minded people was so important because, let's face it, not everybody understands or gets it or even wants to entertain the idea of we actually live after we die. After our physical body dies, our soul continues to exist. And people in physical form can still talk to us. It's hard for people to grasp. But for me, I don't know any different because I've been seeing spirit my whole life. I'm 44. I don't know any different. But for some people, it's tough for them to accept, and I get it. But yet, we still need that support. So having people in a development circle, a mentorship group, a pod of like-minded people, like whoever your besties are that vibe with this type of work, lean into them, as long as they're aligned with you, of course. And I think something that's really supported me on my journey of developing mediumship to spiritual entrepreneur and growing a successful spiritual business is really having the support of my husband. He's not a medium. He hasn't really had any experiences with the other world, with the afterlife, but yet he does believe that my experiences are true for me, and he supports me. And honestly, that has been so priceless to me. I honestly couldn't do what I do without him, hands down. So get plugged in with people. And this is why I have my school, the Spiritual Business School, and I have my podcast and I have my platforms, because I want to support you, because I know that you're looking for someone to help and guide you and lead you and go, hey, if she can do it, I can totally do it. Right? So this is where that is going to help you move through those fears, really personally, and also for your professional growth too. And when you are stepping into your power, meaning you're really stepping into your spiritual gifts with confidence, it can inspire you to live differently. It can inspire you to let go of maybe jobs that you were stuck in just because it was a check. You hated it. You groaned every time you had to go to work. It can inspire you to really pursue things that light you up, things that excite you, things that you actually want to do, things that you actually want to invest your time in. All through the inner healing that takes place while you're developing your mediumship. It literally shifts the lens in which you view your life. So imagine that each of us has this prescription, this spiritual prescription lens that we wear from the minute we're born. But as we heal, as we grow, as we learn, as we understand new things, that prescription changes. And then it changes the way we view life. And that view inspires us to show up differently, to act differently, to make different choices. I mean, I literally, through the guidance of the spirit world, quit a 9-to-5 job that I totally hated, hiding my spiritual gifts, to growing successful spiritual based business where I have not only financial abundance, but I have time freedom. And I actually get to do what I love. Now people go, oh, well, that's easy for you, Courtney. Honey, it was not. But I had built the confidence in my connection with spirit, in myself, that I knew this was going to work because this was part of my soul purpose. And I got that through the inner healing and the introspection and the journaling and the meditation, like through all of my spiritual practices. So if you don't have a spiritual practice, find one. Okay? Sitting in the power, guided meditations, tapping, journaling, like whatever works for you. Okay? You can go to my website. Under my shop, I've got tons of resources there available for you as well. If you don't have a practice to support you. Because when you do this, guys, you are stepping into your power as a medium, and that is going to help you show up authentically because you've gotten rid of all the fluff and all the stuff on top. Think of it as like cream, and you're skimming the cream up top, getting rid of what you don't want so you can get to the good stuff. That is actually going to help you attract your ideal clients, and it's also going to help you grow your spiritual business as a professional medium. You cannot have one without the other. You can't go from I want to be a medium to becoming a successful spiritual-based business owner, being a professional medium without doing the inner work. I'm telling you, there's just no way around it. Sorry to bust your bubble, but it's the honest to God truth. And what's interesting is in my own journey, I see cycles of it. Usually every 3 to 4 months, spirit and my soul bring up new things for me to look at. And I used to dread it. I'm like, oh my God, I've done so much shadow work. I'm sick of it. Okay. I don't want to do it anymore. And they go, nope, it's time. To now, I'm like, sweet. Because I know once I do this, once I heal this, once I let go of this, once I embrace this, whatever those things are, there is always something incredible on the other side of it. So I know that you may have some pains. I know that there might be some stuff that you'd rather avoid, but I promise you, if you can face it head on, you are going to be so much better off because of that. And you're going to thank yourself and you're going to be so grateful that you actually did that. And it requires bravery and courage, but you have it. So don't delay, just start it today, promise you, okay? Another thing that can really support you in your mediumship development journey, but also in your inner healing, is connecting with your spirit guides. And I'll tell you, all of us, I don't care who you are, what you do for work, what your notoriety is, what your status is, we all have stuff we have to heal. And anybody who says they don't, run the other way, okay? I don't believe that for 1 second. We all have flaws. We all have things that we got to look at, right? And I've done therapy. I think therapy is great. I think everybody should try it. But what I'll tell you is I've actually had more success working with my spirit guides than any therapist that I've ever gone to see. Fact. So connecting with them, connecting with your loved ones in spirit, and even having a spiritual mentor to guide and support you as you navigate the mediumship development journey with the personal development is absolutely crucial for your success, because it's going to provide you really in-depth insights and different ways of viewing your situation so you can show up as the best version of yourself today. Not who you're meant to be tomorrow, not who you were yesterday, but who you're meant to be today. Okay, so this is where, again, community is so, so important. And here's an example. I was going through a really difficult time. After my divorce, kids had went and lived with their dad for a bit. That's a whole other dynamic, whole other story that I'll save for another day. And I took it really hard. But I mean, they were preteens, they were teenagers, they could do what they want, right? And I was crushed and I went into a major depression. I didn't know how to cope. I didn't know what to do. And I really anchored into my spirit guides and they helped me. I cried, I wept. They talked to me, they heard me out, and they gave me some incredible insights that shifted that grieving that I was feeling to understanding and acceptance of other people involved, of myself, forgiveness, like so much stuff. And that helped me go through a 3-year period. Like there was a really dark time that I went through. And that 3-year period, I absolutely could not have done without my spirit guides. I'm honest to God, it's true. Because you see, we have people in the world unseen, whether you know them or not, doesn't matter. It does help if you spend time to develop that connection with them. But there are people in the other world that are there to support you, that are there to guide you outside of giving one-to-one readings. You can think of them as like experts. So I don't know if the person that they sent to me had been a therapist in another life or not, but they helped me so much. And I just couldn't have got through that without them. And because of that, after I did a lot of this deep dive into healing, my mediumship became so clear, so clear. And I was really more in a place of acceptance of myself. Self-love had increased. And I can be honest, I never actually loved myself before. True. And I had allowed myself to soften my heart. I allowed those walls to come down. And that was because of spirit. And doing that, the byproduct was that my mediumship increased like 1,000-fold, big time. I was able to connect with spirit much more clearly. I was able to bring through clear, accurate, and specific information. I showed up in the most gentle and soft way with my clients. I was able to hold space for them because as mediums, we're dealing with clients who have all sorts of emotions, grief, anger, frustration. Like there's so many feelings that they're experiencing when they come into a private sitting with us. And that really allowed me to show up in a really beautiful space where I was actually able to hold space for them while they were grieving. So I could still channel their loved ones because I had dealt with my grief. I had dealt with my pain, right? And by doing all of that inner work, you guys, it is really going to help you align yourself with the medium that you came here to be, with the medium that you want to be. Because there's a lot of people that start mediumship and they want that quick fix. And they're like, if she can do it or he can do it, I'm just going to take a quick class or I'm going to do a month course and that's it. I can start working with the public. But I'm going to tell you, you haven't really understood your mediumship fully in that time. And even though you can take classes and all of this, it takes time to really embody the naturalness and the uniqueness of your mediumship abilities. It's okay to admire other people. There's so many mediums that I admire. One of them is my mentor, Eileen Davies. I think she's incredible. There's Michael Mayo. I think he's amazing. James von Prague, Tony Stockwell. These are people that I've mentored with, and I think they're incredible. But I don't want to be like them, because if I do, it takes the focus off of my job and my role and what Spirit and I came here to do. And so when you do that inner work, it allows you to align your mediumship with a version of the most authentic self of you, the most authentic you. But it's also going to help you create a really clear vision for your spiritual business as a professional medium, because you can't grow a business if you don't know who you are. Because remember, who you are is the identity of the business. You are the business. And if you're struggling and growing your business, I'm going to say to you, what are you doing for your personal development? What are you doing for your inner healing? Have you done it? When was the last time you've done it? Look at that, because it will help you remove the roadblocks that ultimately are standing in the way of your abundance, standing in the way of your spiritual gifts really reaching their fullest potential, but also you reaching and attracting the right clients into your business. You just have to do it. And I'm really fortunate that I've been working with a business coach since December, a new business coach, Jaya Rose. She is incredible. And it's interesting because we've been working on my brand messaging, niching, marketing, all of that. But her approach is very much centered around like your voice. She talks about like your brand voice. And to get to your brand voice, you really have to do the inner work. And I've been doing a lot of video marketing, and I go, oh my God, how did I become so insecure and vulnerable now that I'm taking this course and I'm taking this, I'm in the membership and I'm doing all this training and I'm doing all this mentorship. And then she explained it to me. It's just another layer of healing. And I'll save the details for another day, but you really do become vulnerable when you start working with the public. So this is why it's really important, if you're ready to level up or you desire to level up, to make sure you're doing the inner healing, because it'll always come up. It's just your way. It's just the way your soul works. It's the way the spirit world works. It's the way the universe works. And I'm going to tell you that healing is attracting your ideal clients, not anybody who's just going to pay, but the right clients. Is going to help you attract the right opportunities. It's going to help you create a beautiful, thriving business, but it's going to allow you to just be comfortable in your own skin. It's going to allow you to embrace everything that you are, even the stuff that you want to still work on, even the stuff that you're like, God, I just have this bad habit, or I really just don't like this way of how I interact with people sometimes, whatever that is. Or maybe I have this mindset that's just really holding me back from making that impact that I know that I want to make, that I know that I meant to make. But it will come up, and it's going to allow you to just reach a wider audience. And I know that when you do that, when you show up for yourself, when you allow yourself to just, can I say, hold yourself while you go through this stuff, your mediumship cannot help but completely scale, completely align with a higher vibration. And it's just going to allow you to become a more clear version of yourself. So this is really how developing your mediumship can help you heal yourself. I know the biggest thing for me was getting over using the term I'm a medium or identifying as a medium. I used to be so scared. And I remember when I was working, my boss had pulled me into his office and he's like, hey, Courtney, so I need to talk to you. I said, yeah, sure. What's up? And his daughter was on a Facebook group, and in the group, she had saw a post and somebody said they were looking for a medium and asked for recommendations, and somebody had referred me. And he's like, so you're a median? And I'm like, a what? He goes, a median. I said, no, I'm a medium. So I was like, okay, cat's out of the bag. I got to get out of this spiritual closet. And so we had to talk about it. And his only concern was, are you quitting? And at the time, I had no intentions of leaving my job. And it was really interesting. It was so uncomfortable. My heart was racing, clammy palms, like dry mouth, the whole thing. But I was so proud of myself. I was like, yes, I am a medium. It's not something that I do, it's something who I am. It's not something I do, it's me. That's it. Right. And it's something that I embrace. And that look in his eyes was like, he didn't know what to make of it. But I was like, that's not my problem. I'm not responsible for how people perceive what I do. I'm not responsible for how people understand mediumship. Even though I'm an educator, I do educate people and I like to let people know about what mediumship is really all about because it's so much different than what is portrayed on TV, right? And, like we're just normal people. We really are. We just have this ability to connect with the unseen world. And it was definitely one of those moments I'm never going to forget, but one that I'm so incredibly proud of myself on how I handled. But that was because I had done a lot of the inner work, a lot of the inner healing.